welcome to Always Classy and Elegant. I am Brandy, and I will be your host, coach, and mentor as we discuss ways that you can add class, elegance, and of course, some femininity to your lifestyle. This channel is for women who want to cultivate class and elegance, and for those who want to progress in their journey or maintain your lifestyle, because we always have something new that we can learn and apply. Before we jump into the topics related to the theme of this channel, I think it makes sense that we get to know each other a little better. So with that, I'd like to give you a little bit of information about me as far as goes my background, why I started this channel, and what I hope to gain from it and grow it to become. So with that, I'll start with my background. I do have a day job, and I do what's called Organizational Change Management, or OCM, and basically that means that I help businesses whenever they have a change that they're implementing, and it can be a new software program, it can be that they're moving, or that they want to make a cultural shift with their employees, but essentially I help them and their employees navigate through the change so that it is successful in the end. I'm also a project manager, so I manage projects of various sizes, and right now I've got two, and I do a lot of communications and training, so I'm in that space as well. So why I started this channel is I've been in my journey now with femininity, class, and elegance for some years now, and I want to share what I've learned, my experiences, and I want to provide information to women who are like me, or for those who are just starting, to help you through your journey. At this point in my career, mentorship is pretty important to me, and so this is another way for me to apply mentorship, because I do find it so satisfying and I just love helping people. So ultimately, I want to help women who want to improve their lives. It's worked for me, and I think that there's other things that can be done, additional information that can be shared within certain communities that will help women to improve. With that, let's jump into the theme of this channel, and I think it makes sense to start with defining class and elegance. Exactly what is it? Because I see a lot of information out there, and while some things align, I think it makes sense that we have a baseline or a place to start so that we know what it is that we're working to achieve for ourselves. So basically, vocabulary.com defines class as the characteristic of becoming high quality or displaying elegance. The Business Journal puts it this way. They say, people who have class carry themselves in a certain way. They stay calm under pressure, and they don't lose their temper. They are respectful and use good manners. They don't use crude language or complain in public. Okay, so that's what we have for class. Let's take a look at what elegance is defined as, and you guys will have to bear with me here. I cannot remember these definitions by heart, so I do have them noted here so that I can read them to you, so that I can make sure that I am giving you the accurate information. So that last definition came from, I believe it is the Biz Journal. I'll double check and I'll put it in the link below. Anyway, elegance is defined by the Cambridge Dictionary as the quality of being graceful and attractive in appearance or behavior. It also goes further to define it as refined grace or dignified propriety. Refined grace or dignified propriety. Okay, additional definition from Urbanity, I guess that's the urban spin on it, says that it's tasteful richness of design or ornamentation. Okay, so I think we've got a few good definitions here so that we can overall get an idea of what class and elegance really are. Essentially, there's a thread of being high quality, a thread of gracefulness, of course, having good manners and being respectful. So I think that gives us a good takeaway. And from there, I think it's important to say that it's not about perfectionism. It's not about being hoity-toity and having one's nose in the air and looking down on others. It's not about that at all. It's about excellence and putting forth the best that you can with whatever it is that you're doing, be it dress, grooming, the way you treat people, your mannerisms, the way you behave in public and in the home. Overall, it's excellence. So for those of you who are just starting out, it might seem a little bit daunting as we get into more of the topics, but do know that this is a journey. It is not a destination. There is always something that all of us can work on to improve, and as you improve in one area, you may notice that there's something else that you need to work on. You might even have setbacks, and that is fine. Don't beat yourself up. Let's talk about some of the benefits of being classy and elegant, because we do live in a society where there seems to be an overarching theme of anything goes, accept me as I am, I should be able to do what I want to, when and how I want, no one should care, as long as I'm not bothering anyone, blah, 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 when the reality is that a lot of the things we do, probably about 95% of the things we do, affect someone else. Overall, having class and having elegance and good etiquette, which we will get into a little bit more here, it's about showing respect for others. But in showing respect for others, you are setting a standard for yourself. You're showing that you have high respect for yourself, and in turn, with that nonverbal communication, other people will return and treat you accordingly. They will just know from the way that you carry yourself that this is someone that they've got to step it up a little bit more for. And why not be that person that people step their game up for instead of the one that they treat any old kind of way because she doesn't care about herself, why should I? We've got a lot of nonverbal communication that we put forward in the way we carry ourselves, and that's in our behavior, our dress, our grooming, our total look, our total way of being. It's about our complete persona. So with that, those are some of the benefits, but let's talk about some ways that we can become more classy and elegant, and I've got five of them. If you have already heard of some of these things, please bear with us, because understand, people are at different places in their journey. Someone needs to hear what's going to be said here today, and you may have heard it already, or it might be a timely reminder for you. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so 5 ways to become more classy and elegant. First, let's start with grooming and hygiene. It is so important that we are bathing regularly and thoroughly. So that doesn't mean just hopping in the shower, a quick lather up, rinse off, and then you hop right out. We really need to be more detailed with the way that we're bathing. We need to make sure that we get all those nooks and crannies, and I mean all of them. Some of you may feel like this goes without saying, but like I said before, there's somebody that needs to hear this. So that means cleaning belly buttons, behind our ears, between our toes. I'm not going to go into the detail on that right now in this video, because I really could make another video about it, but bathing regularly and thoroughly is very important. It's the foundation for good hygiene. The next thing I want to talk about is moisturizing. We want to make sure that we moisturize our bodies properly. Again, you might feel like this goes without saying, but let me share an experience with you so that you know why I start with hygiene, bathing thoroughly, and moisturizing. It matters, because as I'm going to get to in a few minutes here, people will judge you based on how you look. They will judge you based on whether or not you look like you are clean and bathed. So it matters. So ladies, please make sure that we are bathing thoroughly. Make sure that you are completely moisturizing your body, getting all the way down to your cuticles, your hands, your toes as well, and the heels as well. That's important also, especially with summer coming up. We need to make sure that we are shampooing our hair on a regular basis. Again, I've got a story behind this, and I am not trying to throw anyone under the bus. I am not trying to be negative, but I feel like this needs to be shared. Here's the reason why. One time that I happened to be scrolling social media and just looking through comments, I had a little extra time, and there was a post where a young lady was basically going over a way that she shampoos her extension or cleans her extensions, and she was just using spray bottles in the shampoo, and she never got to the scalp. And so everyone was in the comments, well, what about the scalp? You know, you haven't shampooed your hair if you haven't gotten to your scalp. Like, that technique might be okay for a quick refresher during the week, but at some point soon, especially if this part needs to be shampooed, your scalp needs to be shampooed. So when are we going to get to that? So anyway, part of what I saw in the comments that really shocked me is that there are a lot of females out there that are not washing their hair frequently enough. I saw comments where some young ladies were saying, well, I don't know if they were young or not, but some ladies were saying that they would go 3 months or more without shampooing their hair. Ladies, that is unacceptable regardless of what hairstyle you are wearing. There is one caveat, and that it's a very special program for a lady that helps people grow their hair out, but she's got a complete system and products that need to be used with her system that keep the fungus, bacteria, and the pathogens and things that can really damage your hair and scalp down. Her system is very specific. I'm talking about in general though, ladies, we should, for women of color, I'll put it this way, because our hair can tend to be drier, we need to be a little bit more careful, but we should not be going more than 2 weeks max without washing our hair. Now, depending on whether or not you are working out and sweating in your hair, you may need to shampoo a little bit more frequently, but for those of you that are saying that you go more than 2 weeks and definitely as long as 3 months and without shampooing your hair and that it doesn't smell, ladies, your hair can be smelled. You might be nose blind to it, but the rest of us can smell it. Wash your hair at least every 2 weeks. Okay, let's see. Next on the list would be dental hygiene. This is another thing that's really important. We only get one set of natural teeth, and I know that there's the fashion trend of getting veneers and people are going to Turkey to get veneers, and if that's what you want to do, that's great, but if you can, it's best if you maintain your natural teeth. I hear all kinds of horror stories with veneers. It can be a completely different topic for another time, but taking care of what you have is always the first route that you want to go. So it's important that we are brushing our teeth ideally twice a day, at least once a day, and ideally we should be flossing once a day. I tend to be not so good with the flossing daily, but I have improved, but we at least want to be brushing our teeth once a day, ideally twice a day. Dental hygiene is very important because our dental health can affect our heart health. It's part of maintaining our health, not just being clean, it's your overall health, and which can lead into your quality of life. Let's see, our hair, sorry, I skipped over this. I meant to put this with shampooing. Our hair should be not only clean, but it should be neatly styled. So regardless of what type of hairstyle you choose to wear, whether you like to blow dry your hair and do a blowout, or if you have extensions of whatever form, be they tape-ins or a sew-in or quick weaves, or if you're wearing wigs, whatever it is, that's fine. And it can be curly or it can be straight. The only thing is it does need to be neat and have some form of style and design control to it. And our clothing attire should be proper for the occasion, whatever it is. So naturally, you would not want to wear what you would wear to Sunday services, to a casual backyard barbecue. That would just be out of place. Make sure that your attire is appropriate for the occasion, and with that, make sure that it is in good repair. We don't want anything with any holes, any stains, or loose threads. It's important that we examine our garments on a regular basis so that we can take care of any repair needs. Sometimes things need to go to the cleaner, and outside of just cleaning, they might need a little additional repair, like maybe a button sewed back on, or a hem repaired, or a zipper needs to be fixed. So examine your clothing, make sure it is in good repair, clean, no stains, no loose threads or buttons, and of course no holes. And the same thing applies to our shoes. We want to examine them on a regular basis as well to make sure that they are clean and in good repair. Okay, next up is our posture. This is a difficult one because a lot of us work in offices or home offices, and we sit at a desk all day, and it's hard to maintain good posture while sitting at a desk. We have the tendency to do this, especially if we don't have our monitors at the right position. So something to be mindful of is maintaining good posture when you're sitting, and then even when you're standing and walking, we should have our shoulders back, head up. It should kind of feel like you're squeezing a quarter or something between your shoulder blades if you're doing it properly. Again, I know it's hard, especially if you work at a desk or in an office. Something that I find helpful is to just give myself a good little stretch every now and then and rotate those shoulders back, and kind of opens everything up, and go back and then land, and it puts you in the right position for good posture. So again, it's not about being perfect, ladies, but being mindful of it, practice, work on it until it becomes second nature. Proper speech and communication. Now this is something that I put on here because I think it's very important, because you can have the look, you can have the behavior and all other aspects, but if your grammar is poor, if your communication is poor, it kind of breaks all those other things. And yes, again, people will judge you based on how you sound. We're judged on how we look, but not only that, we are judged on how we sound. And the use of proper grammar, that's important, because when we talk to someone, that creates part of our image, and we can break our overall good image by using poor language, poor grammar, and just mispronouncing words. I know, again, it's not about being perfect. Sometimes we tend to mispronounce some words, and we don't mean to. I think everyone is okay with letting a little faux pas here or there pass, but when we are constantly misusing and mispronouncing words, it does lend to ignorance, and again, we are judged on that. The way we speak is an indicator of socioeconomical status, and not to say that the wealthy are above anyone who doesn't have money, but let's be honest, wealthier people do tend to have enough education to where they are using proper English verbally and written, and a lot of times we can tell them by the way that we speak. Now, not to say that there's not those who are wealthy that use slang and mispronounce words and just basically use improper English. There's always an exception to the rule. I'm talking about in general here. The way we pronounce our words will indicate our education level, our socioeconomical status, and we will be judged on that. So with that being said, again, I encourage you to use proper grammar. If you are unsure of how to pronounce a word, you can go online and not only read the definition of the word, but you can hear it pronounced. So that will help. Again, using the proper tone and elevation when we are speaking. This is another one that I wanted to point out, because if we speak too loudly, especially in the certain circumstances where it's not a loud, rowdy atmosphere, if we are speaking loudly, then that can come off as being rude or obnoxious. Whereas on the flip side, if we are speaking too low or too softly, that can come across as though we are weak and not confident and unsure of ourselves. With that, again, there is a caveat, because there are some people who just have very soft voices and they're not really able to elevate their voice or speak very loudly. I am not talking about those people. In fact, that can be kind of a superpower for them, but I'll get into that in another video about how we use our voice and how to cultivate a more feminine tone of voice. But I'm talking about people who are just, you're like a shrinking violet because you're so afraid to be seen or heard. Find your middle ground. Find what is working for you, or where people can hear you at a natural, reasonable tone, and that will come off as giving you confidence. Let's see. Cursing in foul language. I have to put this one out there. I get it. Those of you who like to curse, I used to curse. I hate to admit it, but I used to, and I used to enjoy it. But I stopped, and as I embarked on this journey of class, elegance, and femininity, I pulled away from a lot of things that had that language, and now when I hear it, especially from women, you can be all dressed up, everything right, makeup going, the hair just perfect, the outfit just right, just looking as classy as you want to be, but then that F-bomb comes out, or that S word, or some other word, and it just detracts from things. And I get that some people say that those who curse, they lack a strong vocabulary or they lack education. I don't think any of that is true. I think it's just so common in this society where we basically applaud the debauched, and really I think it's something that, particularly as ladies, and ladies, I'm talking to us, we should refrain from using foul language. It really does diminish our femininity, and believe it or not, I have heard from a lot of men, the good guys, and some that might be considered kind of questionable. They really don't like a woman that curses. So cursing should be avoided. Foul language should be avoided. Please, let's cut out the foul language. We will be judged on it. So if we're going to be judged on something, why not put the best forward that we can? Again, excellence. Put the best forward that we can so that we can be judged in the best possible light. And let's see, last up is having good manners and good etiquette. So simple things like saying please, thank you, excuse me. These seem to be very simple, and as if most people would know them, but these are very simple things. A lot of us should have learned them as young as being in elementary school or preschool even. However, they seem to be falling out of place in society. However, they are still very useful, and the use of these simple things will indicate whether or not you have any class at all. Let's see. Proper table manners. So again, very simple things. Avoiding putting your elbows on the table. I feel like this next one, it's kind of a little tricky because we see it so much. We see it in movies, we see it on TV. You probably would see it in a restaurant if you go out to eat and actually pay attention, and it's talking with food in your mouth. So I have another story here. Again, not trying to throw anyone under the bus or make anyone feel bad or be negative, but I want to share the story with you to convey the importance of this. So not long ago, my partner and I, we were out dining with some people, and I asked a question of someone that was sitting directly across from me. And I was looking down before, so I didn't realize that they had just put a bite of food in their mouth, and they proceeded to answer me with the food in their mouth, and I got an eyeball full of chewed up food, and it turned my stomach. I was like, I can't believe I just saw what I saw. I didn't want to see that. As adults, as grown women, that is totally unacceptable. So let's please make it a point to finish chewing what's in our mouth before we start speaking to anyone else. And if someone asks us a question while we have something in our mouths, it's okay to have them wait until we finish chewing. Please have them wait. I think that they'll understand, and in turn, you'll probably start to see that if you start doing these things, that the people around you will begin doing them as well. Let's see, the other thing would be that I've seen is spitting food out of one's mouth at the table. So let's address this. You take a bite of something and there's something in here that maybe shouldn't be here, or you just don't like it. That's a good opportunity to use your napkin to remove it and put it where it needs to go. Please do not just bend your head over and drop it back onto your plate. Please don't do that. Moving along, let's see, audible burping or belching. I have a story around this one, but I think I've taken up enough time. I won't share it in this video, but it is so unclassy and unladylike to flat out belch loudly around others. I don't think we should even do it in the privacy of our own homes when we are alone. Now, I understand we eat, we drink, something needs to come up. Okay, that's natural. It's part of being a human being. We can do that quietly. You don't need to make it audible. You don't need to announce to everyone around us that we have just, you get the point. Okay, so let's see. The next thing, and some of you are going to want to hang me from my toenails on this one, because I know we love our furry friends. They are family members to us, but you know what? Our dining table, our dining area, that's supposed to be a sanitary space, and it really is quite unsanitary to have your pet at the table. It's one thing if you are dining by yourself at home in privacy, but if you have others around, even if it's in the privacy of your home, you're inviting them into your home, please don't have the animals at the table, because not everyone shares the same love for your little Fifi that you might, and some people just are turned off by it. So it's something that we should avoid. But I mean, you guys don't come for me, because I know we love our furry friends. Let's see, the last thing here is, I am guilty of this one myself. Having that phone at the table, oh my gosh. It's hard. I'm going to admit, and I will totally admit my guilt on this, but you know what? I've been practicing keeping that phone in my handbag while at the table. Sometimes it's not always possible. Okay, I get it. I am also a realist. I understand that we may have email to check. We might have kids that are texting or that we need to check up on. We're checking security cameras, etc. I understand. So there's a time and a place for doing such things. But if you're dining with friends or with company or in someone's home, it's a good idea to keep your phone away from the table. Just either leave it in your pocket, leave it in your handbag, just leave it someplace else where you will not be tempted to look at it and start scrolling or texting or doing whatever. Because guess what? Our phones are basically petri dishes or trays for a lot of germs and bacteria. And do you really want that on your hands and fingers while you're getting ready to eat or while you are eating? I think if we really could like visually see all of the stuff on our phones while we were at the table, we would probably not touch that phone at all. So, okay, with that, I'm going to wrap things up here because I've taken enough of your time, but everything that I've talked about so far is directly related to how you show up in the world. It forms your persona or your image, if you will. So if you have control over your persona or your image, how you come across and how you show up in the world, why not show up as best as possible? Why not give yourself that advantage of standing out, but in a good way? It may require some effort. Yes, this is work. I mean, it's not the hardest work in the world, but it does require some awareness, mindfulness, and yes, some effort to become more classy and elegant, or to even maintain your class and elegance. So let's see. With that, I think that's everything that I've got to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to learn more, please tune in the future for more videos, because I will probably make a standalone video for each and every one of these topics and go into a little bit more detail. So with that, I hope you all have a great day, and always keep it classy and elegant.